Hello and welcome back to Tech Ambrosia. I'm Amber, and this is Jumper Block, the series where we take a look at retro tech through a modern lens. Today, I'm presenting my entry for the Socket 2Me7 challenge going around Twitter. In keeping with the theme of a period-correct machine, this system represents a top-of-the-line gaming PC from late 1996, and as such, would have cost somewhere north of $3,000 in late 96 or early 97. In this video, I want to go through my component selection process, the build itself, benchmarking, and of course, the games you would have played on this machine in winter 96 and spring 97. All set? Bottoms up. My initial plan for this build-off was going to be very different. I was going to explore the apex of Super Socket 7 performance using one of these K62 Plus 570 CPUs I bought last month, overclocked to 600 MHz, and then pair it with a series of overpowered AGP graphics cards. Would have been good fun. However, the board I'd planned on using for this died on me during testing. After initial setup and some preliminary tests that completed successfully, the board locked up on me, and when I rebooted it, it gave me this pair of nonsense postcodes. I suspected capacitors, and after testing the board, about half of them appeared to no longer be acting like capacitors. So this board now joins my repair queue, which is getting a little too full for my liking, with a large number of boards that I need to recap, reflash, or otherwise repair. When I posted about this on Twitter and on my Everything in October Broke video, Patrick from OCR, Old Computer Rebuilds, was kind enough to reach out to me and send along another Super Socket 7 board for this build. Unfortunately, it was being temperamental, and at that point, I was running out of time to get this build put together, tested, and filmed. So in the end, I settled on my cursed but functional old PCChips board, which is technically a Super Socket 7 board despite it lacking the one feature you'd expect an SS7 board to have, an AGP slot. But it is capable of running a 100 MHz frontside bus and using K62 CPU, so it is technically Super Socket 7. But in this build, I'll be treating it like a standard Socket 7 board for the most part. With that, let's get into the build specifics, and I'll describe my component selection process. So with the motherboard laid out in front of me, I felt like I had very few options really to explore the pinnacle of anything Super Socket 7 related. The PCI performance on this board is not bad, but I don't have any particularly spectacular PCI cards I could pair with it, especially with, say, a high-end K62. So I turned my attention towards the low end of my PCI video card collection and settled on a combination I've showcased before, but haven't really taken a close look at within its period context: the S3 ViRGE and the Voodoo Graphics. Both of these cards are from Diamond Multimedia, a company who today we recognize as an add-in board partner, like Asus, Gigabyte, and Sapphire are. Diamond was a huge name in the PC add-in board market in the 90s, and remained a dominant player in the field until being bought out by S3 to become the sole distributor of S3's next-generation graphics cards. We know how that went, but these two cards were released well before that merger. This is the Diamond Stealth 3D 2000, an extremely inexpensive video card based on the S3 ViRGE 325 chipset. And this card was one of Diamond's most memorable releases, the Diamond Monster 3D. It's a 4MB 3DFX Voodoo Graphics card, and Diamond sold it at very competitive prices. It's believed to be the best-selling version of the original Voodoo because of this, and they still pop up on eBay for not too ridiculous amounts of money from time to time. The Voodoo One itself released in 1996 to an absolutely stunned PC gaming market. This card was orders of magnitude faster than anything else available at the time, and had a features list that sounded impossible for the price if you were paying attention to high-end graphics hardware at the time. So with those boards selected, I looked over what CPUs were available in 1996 and settled on these three: the AMD K5, the Intel Pentium non-MMX, and the Cyrix 6x86. I initially started testing using my K5, mostly because I have a soft spot for this CPU, but As interesting as it is, this version is only a 100 MHz version, and it's very limited in its overclockability, meaning overall system performance would suffer in newer games running on the Voodoo. And as I found in my Socket 7 CPU testing, the 6x86 is kinda garbage when it comes to newer games, so I settled on the Pentium. However, 1996 was pretty late in the classic Pentium's life cycle, and a high-end system would have had a 166 or 200 MHz version of this chip. Mine, however, is only a 133. So I cheated a little. Knowing how much benefit the P5 core gets from higher bus speeds, I overclocked this 133 to 150 MHz by using a 100 MHz bus speed and a 1.5x multiplier. This should land me comfortably above stock Pentium 150 speeds, and hopefully give me what amounts to a Pentium 166 class system. So I ran a few benchmarks and, yep, looks like I'm just behind a Pentium 166 MMX. Perfect. With the testing complete, I packed up the components and started the build. Now, before we get into the games, I want to talk a little bit about PC gaming in 1996. You'll notice there aren't a lot of Windows games featured here, and that's because most games on PC were still being released for DOS. In interviewing a number of prominent PC game developers in the 90s, Microsoft found that most devs considered Windows too difficult to program for versus DOS or other gaming platforms. Microsoft had already released several APIs during the Windows 3 years to try and address video performance in Windows, including DCI and WinG. It was this latter interface that devs pointed to in particular as being a major pain point. Several large commercial releases have been produced using WinG, and one of the most prominent, a major Disney game, had sold well enough that when compatibility issues cropped up with a new fleet of compact computers and WinG, the game publisher found their support lines overwhelmed by angry consumers. With the development and release of Windows 95, Microsoft wanted to change this and began a massive campaign to woo DOS game developers to Windows, and the cornerstone of this initiative was their newly developed Games API, DirectX. Still, with the sting of WinG still fresh in the minds of most developers, yet another API from Microsoft wasn't exactly reassuring. To help build confidence in the API, Microsoft contacted id Software and offered to port Doom to DirectX for free. Id agreed, and the porting project was led by a little-known Microsoft programmer by the name of Gabe Newell. Maybe you've heard of him. Anyway, Doom 95 was the first DirectX game, and it wasn't released until August 1996, so you can see why most of the games featured in this build are DOS games. Even the few that I have here are fudged a little, like GLQuake didn't come out until January 97, and Dune 2000, while it's topical with the release of the new Dune movie, wasn't released until 1998. With all that said, let's get into the games, because that's the whole reason we're here.
Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Construction complete. Building.
Reporting. Let's go. Orders, sir?
Construction complete.
Orders, sir? Trainees out.
Building.
Ready, Commander. For the Duke.
Construction complete. Building.
Yes, sir. For the Duke.
Construction complete. Building.
Reporting. Orders confirmed. Let's go. Yes, Commander. Ready, Commander. For the Duke. Ready, Commander. Trainees out. Ready, Commander. Yes, sir. Commander. Yes, Commander. Yes, Commander. Orders confirmed. Orders confirmed. Let's go. Ready, Commander.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Trainees out.
Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Unit lost.
Ready, Commander. Trainees out. Yes, sir. Trainees out.
Unit lost. Construction complete.
Commander. Reporting. Orders confirmed.
Building. Harvester under attack. Construction complete.
Standing by. Let's go.
Harvester.
See ya.
Pocket it.
See ya.
And that's it! Thanks so much for taking a look at my Sakatumi 7 build. Hopefully you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane, and if you've never experienced gaming on a PC in the 90s, well, now you have. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please hit the like or subscribe buttons. I've got lots more build videos coming up. I've got a whole thing planned for DOScember next month. Also, I'd like to do a formal shout out to Pixel Pipes and his awesome Discord server, as well as OCR, Old Computer Rebuilds, Patrick over there, for donating the motherboard that didn't quite make it into this build. Anyway, be great to one another, and have a good night. Alright, and since I didn't do any of that with my screensaver turned on, staring at a monitor and I didn't notice the thing wasn't turned on. What is wrong with me? Anyway. However, in 1996, crying out loud, come on. Once again, read what you wrote. However, 1996 was pretty